2.0. According to a researcher at the Global Brain Institute, a completely new human species will inhabit the Earth in just over 30 years. Now, this evolutionary step could be comparable to the transition from apes to humans. So, what kind of people will we become? Well, they say our biological clocks will undergo dramatic changes, which will allow us to live longer and give birth at an older age. And of course, technology will continue to make our lives easier. All kinds of microchip implants will be placed in our ears and our fingers, and
microchip implants will be placed in our ears and our fingers and
make many devices completely obsolete. But this dependence on technology has its drawbacks, of course. In the future, humans are going to have to compete for jobs against, you guessed it, machines and cyborgs. And since most of the work will already be done and automated by robots, a sedentary way of life will ultimately take over and make us all a little bit bigger.
And sisters, I just wanted to talk about something. I really do think that the fallen angels are here on the earth, and they're playing a big part in the end times. And there's a lot of people who are asleep right now, and they don't realize that that this is happening. Like, for instance, like all these false flags, and they have people going in and committing like strange and crazy acts, like going into a movie theater and shooting it up, and stuff like that. I really do believe that these are acts from like the fallen angels or their offspring. And the Bible does say that the fallen angels came to earth in Genesis 6, and they mated with women, and they had children that were very, very different than normal children, that they were giants. If you just read Genesis 6, you'll see what I'm talking about. And also, if you read Genesis 6, it does talk about a difference in how the babies look. Like, for instance, it says there were giants in the land, and it talks about their offsprings being giants, and the only way that could happen is if some like a mixing of some kind of DNA, and that was what was going on during the flood. And also it happened again during Sodom and Gomorrah, when God whenever he poured brimstone down on the city. Well, it also says in the Bible that Jesus would return when the days are just like the days of Noah's days, and the days are like Lot's days, and which was Lot was during the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. I can't say that correctly, I'm sorry, but anyways, we are living in those days right now, and those beings, these fallen angels and their offspring, they've gotten better at mixing their DNA. Now they can make a person probably not as like that stands out as much. They may be like the same height as a normal human being, but there will be some differences in them, that will throw throw some people off. Like, when you look at them, you'll just be like, well, why does that person look so weird? You would know there's something different. I don't know how to explain it, but like, for instance, the Bible says that the offsprings of the fallen angels and the humans that were giants, they had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on their feet, on each foot. Okay, well, there's a group of people that have 6 fingers on each hand, but I don't know if they got 6 toes on each foot. They didn't go into that that detail, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do have 6 toes. Maybe that is one part of the the DNA that they could not fix. They probably couldn't fix that, but they maybe they was able to make them shorter and not as tall. Because they've been playing around with DNA for a long time. People just do some research. People who are abducted by aliens, they think these are just aliens from another planet, whenever they're demons that are abducting them. And these demons, these fallen angels, are playing around with human DNA, and they've been doing it for a long time. If you just research, you'll see how many people have been abducted. And then if you pay attention to what these people are saying, it's always about they're taking like sperm samples from them or taking eggs from them. And there's even women who report that they were retaken again or abducted again so they could go back and nurse their child that they have that's what do you call it, a hybrid child, like a Nephilim. And some of these people report seeing a room full of kids that look like they're humans, but they're not. And also these people are implanted with like chips in their bodies. And see, during the end times, the Antichrist will also be what do you call it? The rulers of the aliens, if you want to put it that way. But they're the fallen angels. They'll be this Antichrist will be their leader. Okay, so these fallen angels are all for the what is it, the New World Order. They can't wait for the New World Order to take effect because they are part of it. And they will also be introduced into society here soon, and they will no longer have to hide who they are. But they will still kind of hide it, because they won't say that they're fallen angels. And they're not going to say that they're Nephilims. They're not going to say that they're beings like that, because they don't want to prove the Bible to be correct. So they're going to call themselves anything but that. They're just going to say they're an alien life from another planet, and some people are going to fall for that deception and not realizing that they're mentioned in the Bible, and the Bible warns that in the end times they will return, because they'll be just like the days of Noah's days and the days of Lot's days. And you just have to do a lot of reading and research to find out what was really going on. And you'll see that there was giants in the land, and the reason why God had to flood the world was because of these giants and these fallen angels, because they were ruining DNA. And the only ones that did not ruin their DNA was Noah and his family. They were the only ones that were pure, so that's why they were saved. Everyone else had to get wiped out off the planet because their DNA was corrupt. And we couldn't continue with carrying that DNA on forward, through history, because everyone would look probably creepy looking right now. So God put an end to it. And then God also put somewhere in the Bible, I can't remember where, but it was something about where they were put a restraint on them, fallen angels, like they have like a restraint where they weren't allowed to affect us humans for a while, and then that restraint will be loosened, and then loosened and loosened, and then they will eventually, it'll just be like slowly and gradually, they'll just start messing with humans again, to where it's like we got an infestation of demons all over the world, and people are going to be possessed by demons more often than ever, just like whenever Jesus was walking on the earth, there was a lot of people who were demonically possessed. Jesus healed them. Well, we're going to see that on the streets. When we walk down the streets, it's already happening. There's people who are pulling their clothes off, getting naked, and jumping on people's cars and attacking people through their sunroof. It's happening. There's a girl stripped naked almost, I think down to her panties, and went into McDonald's and was destroying McDonald's, because she was demonically possessed. Some people might say, well, it was drugs. Well, I don't know if it was drugs or not, because I've seen people who took in drugs before, and I've never seen them strip naked and try to bite people's face off or anything like that. So, that's why I think it could be a combination, though. It could be a combination of the drug and being demonically possessed, because they say drugs are the gateway. If you think about that, drugs are the gateway to open up your soul for demonic possession, because you're opening yourself up for that, and so maybe that's what's going on, and it's happening more and more because we are living in the end times, and the demons are free, and they're running, looking for whoever they can, jump into, like take, possess or take over. Like there's some kids that were playing with the Ouija board, and this was I think it was here in close to the Mexico border or Texas. I'm not sure, but they're playing with the Ouija board. There's a report on it, and they became demonically possessed. One of the girls was growling like a dog, and or growling like an animal or some sort, and the other two were like like hallucinating, and they couldn't see or hear anything that was going around them. Well, anyways, what I was trying to say earlier is that the fallen angels are all for this new world order, and their leader is the Antichrist, and that's why they're all for it. And if you notice that when people are abducted by these aliens, they are implanted with a microchip. Well, whenever the Antichrist comes into power, he's going to force everyone to take a RFID chip or some kind of mark on their right hand or their forehead. We're not real sure what kind of mark it will be, but it will be something that will be on your hand or your forehead, and he will force everyone to accept this mark. And if you do not accept the mark, then you are going against the government. They're going to call you like a traitor, I guess, or a terrorist, because you're going against the government and going against the president, or the not president, but the Antichrist. And so some of these people, some people will be killed like instantly, and others will be put in like concentration camps, like they did during Hitler's days, or FEMA camps, and they will try to re-educate you to make you come to agreement that you will take this mark on your hand or your forehead. And if they can't get you to change your mind, then they're going to line you up in this long line that's probably going to be for miles long, and you're going to stand in this line for a long time, and one at a time, and maybe 3 or 4 at a time. I don't know how many they'll have going at one time, but they'll start using guillotines to start cutting people's heads off. But whatever you do, do not get out of the line, and do not chicken out, because Jesus is in control, and you won't feel any pain. He will make sure of that you don't feel any pain. He will take care of you. And all you have to do is just praise him and glorify him, and just put your mind on Jesus during that time, and forget about everything else in this world, and just praise and glorify him, because that day would be the day that you will be with Jesus Christ in heaven. And so don't chicken out, don't run out of the line because you're afraid, because your flesh will die. Only your flesh will die. Your soul will go to heaven, and you won't feel any pain. But if you chicken out and you run out of line, and you tell them that you'll take the mark of the beast because you get afraid. Sorry, that was my dogs. If you get afraid and run out of line, and they give you that mark of the beast, then when you go to hell, because you will go to hell for that, you will feel pain for the rest of your life. You will feel pain. I mean, not for the rest of your life, but you'll feel pain for eternity. And you're running away from pain because you're afraid of the pain that you was going to feel from the guillotines. But in turn, you'll be actually running towards pain, because you'll be going to hell, and you'll be feeling pain for eternity. So that's one way you need to look at it. And remember, Jesus will be there with you, and he will take the pain away from you, and he will protect you from that pain. But you still have to go through the guillotines if that's what happens. And but you will be in heaven with Jesus, and you'll get your white robes. And so whatever you do, don't chicken out. Don't take the mark. It's not worth it, because eternity of hell and living in torment for eternity, that don't sound very fun. And whenever you're in heaven, there won't be any pain. There will be no more suffering. There will be no more death. There'll be everything in heaven will be beautiful, and it'll be like the greatest. I don't know. There's no words for it. It'll be just so great, and you want to spend eternity there and not in hell. Trust me. Well, anyways, I just wanted to share this with y'all, and I wanted to show you these people to see what y'all think. And that's it for right now. God bless you all. All right, bye-bye.
Hey, Brasil! If Brazil takes home another World Cup title in 2014, the De Silvas might be the only family to count all 6 of its wins on one hand. All the members of this Brazilian family were born with an extra finger on each hand, known as polydactyly. It's a rare genetic condition, but ask any of them and they'll tell you it's more of a blessing than a curse.
The techniques I use to play with 6 fingers, I get from the techniques people use to play with 5 fingers.
Bom, legal, eu tenho orgulho de ter 6 dedos.
It's cool. I'm proud of having 6 fingers. It's easier to grab things and do other stuff.
And that pride never shines more brightly than during this year's World Cup, the local media making them a symbol of hope that Brazil will lock down its 6th World Cup title.
Since the last World Cup, we've wanted Brazil to win its 6th championship, so we can show with our 6 fingers the number of times Brazil has won.
This year, they'll be on the edge of their seats during each match, keeping all 12 fingers crossed. Robert Bumstead, Associated Press.
Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives, all of which they chose. And the Lord said,
My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years.
There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said,
I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping things and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah,
The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof. With lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh wherein is the breath of life from under heaven. And everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou, and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind. Of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten. And thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them.
Thus did Noah. According to all that God commanded him, so did he.
Be for food for thee and for them.
Thus did Noah. According to all that God commanded him, so did